Hey guys, hope everyone's doing well and staying home and staying healthy. Olive and I are going to put together a art lesson for you guys today, and we are actually going to be painting daffodils. We're going to draw a daffodil and then we're going to watercolor it and we're going to try some salt. Daffodils, the reason I picked those is because it's springtime, and if people bring daffodils to your home, it's like bringing happiness into your home. The daffodil is a sign of happiness. So, all right, let's look over here at what you're going to need. You are going to need a watercolor set and some watercolor brushes. You should have gotten a piece of watercolor paper that's been gridded off from Miss Barron. It's probably taped onto a hard piece of cardboard. If not, just tape a piece of paper down to your tables. You'll need a pencil, maybe some markers. We've got some black crayons out here. We've got some crayons in there. And you want maybe newspaper on your mom's table, a glass of water, and some paper towels.
Don't drink the water.
All right, so we're gonna grab our pencils and we're gonna come over here to our paper. And you'll see that we have 4 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4. And remember, at any time today, you can pause the video to get caught up. What we're going to do in this square, right up here, we are going to draw a kind of an oval. You see that? I'm going to show you guys my oval. Show you the proportion, and we'll have Olive draw her oval. Nice. All right, next step, remember you can pause it if you need to catch up, is right along your oval now. All of you might want to zoom in a little bit.
All right, hold on, let me get situated.
You are going to draw this really cool, like kind of like, I guess it'd be kind of like rolling hills. What would you call it, Olive? Little rolling bumps, kind of little waves. Maybe make mine a little bit smaller. And see how I'm just coming back to my circle and making these. Just like that. And you don't want to draw too dark. I'm drawing dark right now because I want you to, see the rules. I want you to be able, I'm drawing dark just so you can see it, but draw light enough that you could erase it later if you need to. Nice, nice. Okay, so pause the video if you need to catch up, and this is what you want.
Kind of looks like a sunshine.
All right, the next part's pretty cool. Inside here, I'm going to use a better eraser, and I'm going to erase this inside circle. Okay, so get all that erased out of there. That's why it's nice to draw light. Remember, not too much pressure, especially you, Harry. Remember, keep it nice and gentle. I'm sure that Axel's keeping it nice and light. All right, after you do that, the next step is going to be, we're going to draw kind of like a rainbow kind of art cup. It's going to come out of the back into this other square, come around and right to there. And then you can erase this guideline. So if you need to pause the video, pause it and get to that point. We'll look over here at Olive's. Olive's going to take a minute and erase that inside line.
I did that a bit too dark just so you guys could see it. This eraser doesn't really work good.
And then she's going to draw that cup back there as well.
And if a few of your lines get kind of erased while you're erasing it like mine did, you can just draw them back on.
Okay, and Olive's got her cup going in there. And she's going to erase that guideline in there. Nice. All right. So we're starting to look like a flower, just like the flowers that Lee's mom gave me. I have those sitting on my table. All right. Oh,
Yes.
Okay, so for our next part, we're going to draw one of our petals. And the first petal is going to come out of the top here up to here, not off the paper. It kind of comes to a point because most flower petals do. Then it's going to come around here to this. So I got one petal. Erase my guideline. And then I'm going to come down here in the same point, meet at the same point right here. Come around, draw another petal coming right here. Let's do those two petals. Those two petals, okay? You guys pause it and draw those two petals in. We'll go look at olives here in a minute. The color of our daffodil is going to be yellow. We'll go over here and Olive's getting her petals drawn in. Okay. Then we're going to draw another petal. So come right here to the same point. Bring it all the way out to a point. Then bring it back into right there. So you should have 1, 2, 3 petals. I'll give you a little proportion there. See where it's at on the page. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to layer our other petals. So I'm going to come right out here, make a little petal coming out this way to a point. And I'm going to pick my petal to come right here. Then my next petal is going to be layered behind this one. And right to there. And I'm going to add another petal down here. And up to there. So I've added another 1, 2, 3. So you should have 6 petals total. Erase your guideline. We'll look over here at olives. I'm going to hold this here. You guys could pause it on this video part.
Yep, give it a good pause if you must.
And I'm going to move along. So now we're going to add a little detail so that you can tell what part of our flowers is here. So inside here, this is kind of fun, you're going to draw an arc. I'm doing it a little bit dark just because I want you to see it. And this is going to give it a little bit of depth. This is the inside of the flower. So if you can do that, it's like a half with a little thing sticking up.
It's like a smiley face with a nose.
Yep. Then we're going to add a couple of lines here so these look like petals better. And they're going to come out here, here, here. One's going to come out over here. Put a couple over here, here, and here. Put one out over here. And put out a couple over here. And that just kind of gives our flower a little bit of look.
Gives a bit of pizzazz. Pizzazz.
All right, now for the next step, if you need to pause it, and you can see your proportions here. Pretty good sized flower. And then use your guidelines here. I'm gonna have you come down. We're gonna build the stem, and it's kind of nice because the stem actually follows in the center here. So it's a pretty good sized stem. And you're going to erase this line. So see if you can get a stem. I would say that's what about? I would say that's, you know, pretty good. Not too far down. You're leaving quite a bit of space still. So you can see your distance. It's not quite halfway. Then what we're going to do next is we are going to make 2 big thick leaves. And what you'll want to do is start down here, come up and around, and come up to here. Come right up to that line and cross over it a little bit. Then come all the way back down and come to here. Now you're probably going to need to pause it. But I'm going to take my hand away here and show it up for full proportion. And then we're going to layer a leaf behind it. One more leaf, and we're going to come up with this leaf again, almost to the line. Start up here a little higher. Come up right, well, I'm going to go ahead and bring it over because I like the way it looks. You may, just depends on how your flower's coming together. Then bring your petal, your leaf, back down here. Okay. Well, there we go. We got a beautiful daffodil. I'm going to go ahead and erase my guidelines now, all of them. So we've got a beautiful, and you want to draw it pretty large. All right, so our guidelines are gone. Got a pretty daffodil. What I'd like you to do now is draw a little bit of foreground. And I'm going to do, because it's springtime, I want to do some beautiful grass. I'm going to kind of do some crazy pointy grass. I'm feeling like a little bit of grass like this. And maybe have some grass coming up because I'm going to paint this really. I make pretty good lines, not too small of lines. You don't want to. You want to have some nice big lines because you're going to use crayons and watercolors here. And then I'm going to add. Can you see up on the full page? I'm going to put a little cloud coming in over here, flat. Remember, our clouds are flat on the bottom. And then this is a beautiful day, so I'm going to make my nice fluffy clouds. One's coming off the page there. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and add another one coming off the page over here. There we go. All right. So we'll look over here at Olive's and see how she's doing on hers.
I haven't erased all my guidelines yet.
Olive, move your hands for just a minute and see how Olive's coming along on hers. Everyone's is going to have some different shape and character. And then what we'll do is I am going to use a crayon to go over my lines. So I've picked a black crayon to go over the parts of my flower. And now you may have, like, if you have more lines, a lot more detail, like Lillian May and Axel and Maddie, you know, you might want to use a marker, maybe a thin tip Sharpie or any kind of marker that you have at home, or a thicker tipped one. The crayons work nicer with watercolors because it repels the paint. So I sort of like that a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and color in my lines here. And just get those all drawn around. Taking my time, right? Making sure, doing a nice job. And I'm sure Alyssa's excited about painting her flower. And Sophia, don't add any hearts yet, Sophia, okay? And, you know, this would make a nice, let's see here. I've got to watch my lines because I'm trying to do a nice job. Always erase the lines that you didn't want before this. Really clean up your work. I'm kind of moving right along just because of the video. And you can pause it, of course. And I'm just doing this a little fast.
And just a little pointer while she's doing this. I really miss everybody.
Oh, we are looking so forward to seeing everyone again, but I'm glad everyone's staying home.
I've missed.
Olive, can you hold this for a moment?
Yes, I can.
I'm going to switch to a green colored crayon. Remember, you can switch up your crayon colors when we go to paint, but I'm going to go ahead and go green here. And you could add some veins if you wanted in your leaves for a little bit of, you know.
Pizzazz.
You could. I'm not going to. I'm going to. And then we also have salt today. And we haven't used salt together as a group yet. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to use a little blue to outline my clouds. And I got to double check to make sure that I didn't miss any parts on my painting, on my picture here. And sure enough, I missed these 2 lines right here. So I got a little sloppy there, and I got my lines showing here. And I don't like the way my pencil lines are showing here, so I'm just going to touch that up before I paint. So I'm looking for some neat work out there, okay? Then I will get my watercolor. That's fine. And I'll get my watercolor and keep working on yours. Olive's going to do marker on hers. I'm going to do a little bit. Remember, we get the green paint. I'm going to use green for my leaves and grass. You want to get your paints wet first. Test them out. We're going to do a little wet on wet for my leaves. So I'm going to get a little bit of moisture on the brush. Even though it's just a little bit of paint in there. Then pick up some more paint and bring it over. Give it a springtime kind of look. Not too much rubbing on it. Remember, if you have a oops, all you can do is take up your paper towel and dab it back up. Fill it in there. And I, of course, at the last minute decided to add some texture to my grass because you don't have to do this, of course, but you know what will happen with the watercolor if you do this is it'll stay away from the wax. I think that'll kind of give me a little, give me a different color, just a different look. I'm adding some water here, spreading my colors out. And it'll stay away from, remember, you don't need a lot of watercolor paint to get the washed out. I cannot wait till we can see the spring grass again.
And maybe see all your spring faces.
Yep. Water over here. Okay. We'll see how Olive is doing over here with hers. Olive did a little bit of thin tip Sharpie. She's got a little bit more detail, a little finer lines. Looks like she's added, a bird into her flower.
Of course, I've added a bird.
Okay, so I'm going to use a little, the technique of just the paint and not as much water. The wet on dry for my stem, make it a little darker. I like that so well. I'm going to add a little bit of dark into my tops of my grasses a little to blend it a little. Let's bring that down a little bit. Give it some more texture. All right.
Oh, looks very nice.
So the best part is, of course, the yellow is the daffodil. And I do want it to pop a little bit more. I don't want to look as washed out. So I'm definitely going to use just water and paint. I mean, just a little bit of water and paint in there. And then make sure it's not too, I got a little bit of green in there. So I'm not thrilled with that. Let's just get that. And we can clean out our brush a little over here. See that? And then pick up the paint. Okay, so my paint is thicker with more paint than water. And when I come in here to paint, it'll come on much more vibrant. Like the daffodil should.
Sharpie.
That's okay. It will take a little longer if you're using marker, and I move pretty quickly, so you may be pausing it. I want to just kind of move along to get this done for you guys.
I'm pausing right now.
And daffodil looks pretty. I'm going to make this part a little orange right in here. But you can pick any color, of course, or just do it yellow. How's Olive doing over there?
I'm almost done with my Sharpie.
Okay.
My
We'll have a
hand
look
is
at
starting
hers.
to hurt.
Remember, if your watercolor bleeds a little bit into places that you don't want it, you can simply mop it with your napkin. We've all done that. We don't want it. I want to keep, notice I'm keeping my yellow away from that orange so they don't bleed into each other.
Oh, looks very nice.
There we go. All right, so now we'll look at Olive's for a minute. Olive's erasing her marks. Lift your hand up for a minute, Olive. Olive's got her pencil or pen line. She's going through and getting all her pencil marks out of there. See how on her bird and things like that. See some really nice bright colors. Now this is a new technique, so you may pause it at this point and catch up. But we're going to do the sky, and you're going to need a little bit of table salt, and we're going to do a light blue sky. So all of you want to watch this too, because you have not done this.
I have not.
I'm first going to get my my paintbrush clean. Test it over here, make sure it's clean. Come over here and just wet my sky first, right? Make it wet. Notice I'm not wasting much time. I'm moving right through with this, guys. I might have you hold the camera, Olive.
Yeah, I get that.
Okay. And I'm just getting the, nice and wet. Not sopping wet. Kids, not sopping wet. Emery, be careful with the amount of water you use, okay? Now, get over here into the blue. Test it a little bit. Make sure you're not crazy, okay? Get my little bit more water. My blue wasn't moistened enough. I'm going to come in here with my blue, okay?
Oh, so pretty.
And I want it to look like it's washed, like watercolors. And I have plenty of blue. I can pull it, keep pulling it through. Oh, and I got some blue there. Okay, green.
Green.
So watch
green.
what happens here. Just to get that oops out of there, I can just dab it and come back over it in a minute, okay? And actually, that kind of gives it a cool look, too.
And also, if you want to be careful, and if you really are scared about getting, like, paint in your blue, you can just wait till that paint, like, on your green and stuff, dry, and then do your sky. After everything's dried out.
So I got a little dark here. See how I didn't want it to be so dark? Then just pull it through. Keep it in. I'm keeping it out of my clouds. I want my clouds to look kind of white and billowy, and I'll show you how we'll finish those. So I'm pulling my paint through. Blue, blue, blue. What the salt is going to do is give us a beautiful kind of cool texture. And I keep meaning to do it with you guys. I just kind of forget. All right, we got the blue. Just want a little bit more for effect. I love watercolor.
Got some more green on there.
That's all right. Nobody's going to notice. Okay, take your paint while it's still wet and drop a good amount of salt. Keep it only, go zoom in a little. You guys keep it right in the wet paint only that you want it to change. Look how it's the salt's going to absorb the paint. We're going to let it dry overnight. Then we'll gently brush the salt off tomorrow. And it leaves a really beautiful texture.
Looks very pretty.
You can see that a little bit closer. And then we'll wipe it off tomorrow.
Such a beautiful dog.
I kind of hurried mine along. And you'll want to let them dry overnight. And then you'll peel this blue tape off. And then take a marker and print your name down in the corner. And my clouds, I'm going to do those in a little bit. I'm just going to add just a touch of gray to them. Maybe I can try it here while you guys are with me still. I think this is...
That might be too black.
Let's see. I'm going to wet my paper first. Oh, I'm a little nervous, but we'll see what happens.
There might be some storm clouds coming in.
Yeah. All right, where did I have my black? I had a little bit of black right there, so I'm just going to... Oh!
Yeah.
That's okay. We can fix it. So I'm going to give it both of them a little. This one's a little better. I like that a little better. And then watch. So anytime you're not happy, just give it a little dab.
Give it a dab.
See, so that gives my clouds just a little bit more cloudy look. Well, we will post a picture of Olive's when she's finished.
Yeah.
And I'll peel mine off and sign my name. Remember, let it dry on this overnight. And we will have a new project for you guys real soon. We miss everyone. Everyone take care and stay healthy.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.